There we go.
Awesome.
Zoom
Cool.
ladies said that we can proceed, so we shall. Okie
Awesome.
dokie. His name may be Green, but as a musician, he certainly is not, even though he plays guitar sometimes. I'm here with Ben Green of Gypsy Road, Grimlock, among other things. Ben, how are you this morning?
Good. Thanks, Brady. How you going?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. So I hear you're in northern Sydney at the moment,
Yeah.
visiting family, are you?
Yeah, that's right. All my family's kind of up in Sydney, so I usually kind of bounce to and from Melbourne and Sydney, which is great. Utopia Records is here, so that's a big plus.
Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned that before on Facebook. So did you get anything? What's your haul?
So I decided I'd go after the interview, and I'll go there and have a chat
Oh,
to
yeah.
Dave, drop off some Grimlock cards, of course.
Very nice. Very nice. Very good marketing right there. Bit of a flash.
You got
Our
to.
podcast listeners won't have seen that, but I will have links because
Awesome.
man of my word. So speaking of, so Grimlock. So you got a couple of projects in the works at the moment. So playing bass for Gypsy Road. And when did you join Grimlock? Is that a new venture for you? But they're both recently new for yourself, aren't they?
Yeah, so Gypsy Road has been going for I think like 7 years. My best mate Alex, I've known him since I was 14. We used to play Nirvana and Pearl Jam in the garage together in year
Yeah.
eight. And he started up Gypsy Road, God, in like 2017 or something. He's done some
Mm,
really cool stuff with it. And I joined them last August or something. I
mm,
got back into music after a big hiatus and
yeah.
played with them, and Grimlock was actually something that's like brand new. So
Mm,
we all met up in around April, and because I really just wanted to play metal. I do love Gypsy
yeah.
Road, and I love
Yeah.
playing bass with my mates. But I'm a metalhead, and
Mm.
so yeah, we had kind of met up. A friend of mine and the rhythm guitarist Zach Robertson, super cool dude. He actually posted an ad. He was looking for band members, and a few of
Oh,
us
yeah.
responded. We all met, and yeah, we kind of had a jam from there, and we were writing ever since. We have a new drummer from we joined about a month ago. He's an absolute weapon. He played our
Hell yeah.
first gig with us on Sunday at the Toad upstairs.
Yeah, nice. How did that gig go? So you played with was Dysfunction Junction and Orphix?
Yeah, yeah, Dysfunction Junction. They were cool. They're like a fun kind of punk thrashy band. And
Nice.
it's a funny story how we actually got that gig. So originally it was supposed to be a Gypsy Road gig. So, we
Right.
hadn't yeah, we hadn't played a gig in months, and we were like, oh, we'll hop on Dysfunction Junction's bill because Alex from Gypsy, he works with one of the dudes from Dysfunction Junction, and then it turns out Alex and our drummer from Gypsy Road, they both had a hardcore festival on that day. I'm not sure what it was. It was a Runs 170 Russell.
Yeah.
It was like a hardcore festival, and they were like, "We have to pull out." And then I was like, "Oh, that sucks." I was keen to play a gig, and Alex says, "Hey, is Grimlock ready?" And then I was like, "Oh, whoa, hell yeah! This is like rip the band-aid off. We really needed our
Yeah,
first
hell
gig."
yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome, man.
How did you guys find that with because I watched your set and you wouldn't have told you wouldn't have thought that this is a band that's only not only just come together but also just pulled a gig at the last moment. Like you guys played like you were on lock together. So it seems like, seems like you guys are gelling as a band so far.
Yeah, man. I was really trying to avoid making a pun when you said we're on lock there. I was going to say we're on Grimlock
On
there.
Grimlock. I was
um,
gonna do a me Grimlock, but I thought, you know what? It sounds like Yoda anyway. So
yeah.
without the pitch shifter, I just sound like Yoda.
Yoda's a good result, but yeah, it was fantastic, man. It was, playing live in general was just so much fun, and
Yeah.
yeah, it was really awesome. We were and like thank you as well. We were quite locked in, and we practiced quite a bit, and we've kind of through recording demos of the songs, you play them quite a lot, and we've tabbed them out and stuff. So I feel
Mm.
like we really just know our music inside and out, which is always good. And we were just super super keen to play, and I'm so happy. It turned out a lot better than I thought it would. Honestly, I thought it would be a bit sloppy, but I was pretty happy with it.
Yeah, no, it's sounding tight, and it's got a yeah, what I noticed, which I really like, because like I'm a big core guy. Obviously, I'm always wearing death metal shirts. I love my death
Yeah,
metal, I love extreme metal, that sort of stuff. also got a soft spot for stuff like Gypsy Road. You know, I'm man. I don't feel like I need to revoke my man card to admit that.
That's all
Um,
right. Yeah.
but yeah, I noticed Grimlock has like quite a blackened influence too, which I thought was really cool. Like real blackened sort of riffage,
Oh
which I
yeah.
was yeah, very nice. I'm always a big fan of that stuff in my core. Was that sort of an influence that was kind of agreed upon? Like did that sort of just naturally come through with you guys jamming? Was this more sort of predetermined? Like how did the sound for Grimlock kind of pan out?
Well, I am a huge black metal fan as well. I'm really happy you've kind of picked up on that. So me and the vocalist are like our vocalist Cam, amazing guy. He's a massive black metal fan. Like he listens
Mm,
to mainly black metal, and I'm a big black metal fan as well. Um, and so we've all come from quite different musical backgrounds, which is really
mm,
cool.
mm.
Um, and yeah, we've kind of it just happens. And when I tend to write riffs, like it's I don't know if it's the tremolo or like I do tend to. We haven't used any in Grimlock, but I really do love those just black metal minor bar chords and stuff like
Yep.
that.
Yep.
Um,
Just those 16th note runs where you're just
yeah,
holding down the
man.
barcode. Yep. For that
Yeah, they're rad.
evil sound. Yep.
It's
Yep.
interesting you said that as well, because someone as well on the set they commented, "Oh, there's a bit of a blackened influence," and I just thought like, "Excellent," you know.
Excellent. Yes. Mission accomplished. And it's
Yeah,
also like you're instantly my mate. You say
yeah.
black and influenced. We're definitely going to be chatting over a pint over bands in a second.
Oh, 100%. And yeah, even like you mentioned before, with the kind of more Midwest emo post-hardcore vibe that Gypsy Road has,
Mm,
that stuff's absolutely rad as well. Because I'm a big
yeah.
fan of got a big emo side to me as well. Like I love
Mm,
post-hardcore and a bit of
yeah.
even like like math rock and stuff. There's a great band
Mm,
called TTNG. This Town Needs Guns. They're from England.
yeah. I've
They're
heard of them. Good
yeah,
band. Yeah.
awesome band, man. And Alex is super influenced by that style of stuff. Alex loves his Midwest emo. He listens to a lot of Algernon, Cab Wilder, and obviously American football. We're both
Yep.
big American football fans,
Yep.
and that stuff is heavily influenced with the gypsy stuff. You'll hear here and there. There's a nice little twiddly Midwest emo riff, and a lot of the tunings Alex loves. I think a lot of letters to a state from letters to a friend from interstate. Sorry, I think a lot of that is in FACGCE,
Oh
which
my
is a
god.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Typical post hardcore. It's just like play. Let's play a game of changing tunings. Yeah.
and breaking strings.
Yeah. Because is that so? That's what E standard tuned up.
Yeah, so I think it's supposed like in theory terms, it's like an open F major nine or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, So it's your top string would be tuned up a full step to F, and then the third string would be
Down.
down from
Yeah.
C. And yeah, it's very pretty sounding. Like, and we
Yeah.
use like a lot of dad fat as well, like open D, and
Mm.
um, which that stuff's really cool. And Gypsy does have a new EP in the works, which we're really excited about.
Mm. Awesome. What's
Yeah.
the you got a title?
Not as of yet, but there are kind of a few songs we're thinking of doing
Yeah.
some recording in the new
Cool.
year and getting a new EP out. Always
Yeah.
good.
Great. Great. So with the Gypsy Road, you guys played a show back in June.
Yeah. I think yeah, it's been a while. Alex he had a bit of an accident, and so we weren't able to play shows for a bit. He got some really bad burns.
Oh, damn.
Um, yeah, and yeah, I think oh god, we played a show at Moondog in Footscray.
Mm.
That was our last show around July, but we didn't. It was kind of for like a uni event thing of a friend,
Mm.
so we didn't really advertise it too much. Really cool venue though. It's got like I'm not sure if you've seen the Blues Brothers. There's a scene with a cage bar. We
Yep.
played in one of those. They have like a cowboy like a
Oh,
cage
hell
bar,
yeah.
and it was pretty cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, and before that, I believe, yeah, it was we headlined a show at Bad Decisions and we played alongside the Lazy Susans and Foley, which are
Mm.
awesome.
Mm.
Big fan of the Lazy Susans. I really like them. It was an honor to have them open up for us.
I've seen that name around a bit. Admittedly, I haven't heard them much, but I have seen that name kicking around quite a bit. Lazy
Yeah.
Susans. That's very familiar to me.
Yeah,
which I
they're
guess
cool.
dovetails. I know we're ping ponging around different places with the interview, but hey, why not?
Yeah.
Playing a bit fast and loose. But I guess that leads into a question for me that I had around. So for me, I don't know if this is a bit of a take. It's probably a lukewarm one at best, but there's a lot of what's going around, which I've kind of soft termed DAL core, Destroy All Lines core. A lot of that, a lot of the Melbourne and Australian scene to me as like a staunch like hardcore kid and lover of post hardcore and emo and stuff. I get the sense that a lot of Australian metalcore and hardcore it sits in that the bands that you're seeing, DAL and others bring out good things, that sort of thing. It's still very much that unify, well produced, bright. Sounds like it's
Yeah.
very, influenced by Nolly Get Good from Periphery, that big
Oh
anthemic
yeah.
metalcore turnstile sort of style. Whereas I find that I've found when and where I've found good post hardcore in Melbourne, typically it's been at places like a Diploid show who are more like noise, grind, that sort of thing. Or just by chance, like Under the Almonds, who put on like a lot of backyard shows and stuff. I remember I found out about Jill Gill Sarone, who incredible band. I think people need to go see those guys live because just talking about hardcore and like the passion they play. But I guess that dovetails into a question for me because as a metalhead and someone not originally from Victoria, when I was living in Melbourne up until 2022 from 2017, I found it pretty hard to find and source post hardcore bands and emo bands
Yeah.
in
Oh yeah.
Melbourne. Is that a byproduct of me just being more overall a bit of a sludge fiend, a grindhead, and just not having my head in that scene? Or is there actually a bit of a not issue with visibility, or what's the actual reality for I guess post-hardcore and emo bands in Melbourne?
Um,
Long spiel there for a question,
no,
but
that's cool, man.
my hunch is the things that kind of tend to get visibility on socials and events invites really tends to lean more towards either your local hardcore or that more anthemic metalcore. Whereas my take is I feel like it feels like a lot of post-hardcore and emo stuff in the Melbourne scene is sort of it's more in drips and drabs here and there. Is that kind of accurate or
I
what's
would
your
I
take?
would say that's extremely accurate because as like post hardcore and emo stuff is it's quite like unrepresented, I would say. Like it's
Yeah.
quite like you were saying, it's a lot easier to find a hardcore band or like, like a punk band than it is to find a post hardcore or emo band. And there are
Mm.
there's a band I saw recently, they're like a Scrams band, All That's Left of You. They're really cool.
Yeah.
And I think they mainly I see them, they do a lot of like house party gigs and stuff like
Mm.
that. But I saw them open up for Your Arms Are My Cocoon at the Tote. And
Mm.
me and Alex, I was there with Alex from Gypsy, and we just thought, oh man, like I wish this scene was bigger because you're absolutely correct. It is a bit more low key and it feels a bit underrepresented.
Mm.
And yeah, that's I'm not actually sure why that is. I think a lot of them, like you said, a lot of them do play those like backyard shows and
Yeah.
house parties and stuff. But it would be nice to see a kind of a more vibrant emo scene. I guess I don't know,
Yeah.
emo stay inside and shit. I don't know.
I've just always wondered what's behind it, and I've like my theory crafting on it is basically my hunch is that it's kind of it makes me feel a little bit old as a mid 30s guy, thinking is this just not what the kids are into? But like I do think for me, I feel like there's a bit of a resurgence too that people are wanting, very similar to how we copped a lot of very cold, clinical, tech genty stuff in the 2010s and now a lot of the progressive death metal stuff or even the tech stuff it's got that raw kind of
Yeah,
dirty feel. You've got metallic hardcore, which is like 90s 2000s style metallic hardcore bands like Yautja and over here Nicolas Cage Fighter and stuff.
yeah.
I feel like there's a bit of an appetite growing again, and but I'm not entirely sure if from your guys' point of view, whether that's also been reflected in maybe more people coming to these shows or a bit more buzz. Do you feel like it's Do you feel like that kind of musical scene is growing a bit, albeit slowly, or
I think that's a really good way to put it, Brady. To be honest,
mm,
I reckon, like you said, they're growing, but like slowly, because there are little kind of resurgences here and there, even with gypsies. Like we'll see people we haven't really seen at shows come and stuff like that, which is
mm,
awesome. It's always good to kind of see a scene grow. But I think slowly but surely, I reckon there'll be more and more post-hardcore bands kind of coming out of the works.
yeah, absolutely. And I'm all for it. I'm all
Yeah,
for it.
same, man.
I can wear as many gross Last Days of Humanity shirts as I want, but
Yeah,
I'll still
man.
go and listen to Sunny Day or Real Estate and not give a shit.
Yeah. Sunny Day are awesome. I did notice you were wearing an Anoxia top there.
Yep,
I
repping them.
love Anoxia, man.
Yep.
They're rad.
Yep, and big fan of Silosis as well, who we've also interviewed
Yeah.
on the pod a while back. But
Oh, wow.
which dovetails into another question of mine. How do you find the differences, say, in terms of the visibility, booking of gigs, turnout, that sort of thing? Now contrast that with Grimlock, say, because you guys have just had a show, so it's
Yeah.
just fresh on the mind, 14th of December. Um, what's your experience with playing and booking so far, things for Grimlock? Like, do you find because the metal scene here is pretty entrenched, that's a bit easier, or is it actually similar to your experience with Gypsy Road? Like, how does it compare? I guess.
That's a good question. With Grimlock, as we kind of have just started, so I'm fresh in that like self
Yeah.
promotion phase. I'm messaging heaps of bands and stuff,
Yep.
and hopefully we get put on some cool bills and stuff like that. I have spoken to a few guys and some other metal bands who we're hoping to play with. But yeah, we haven't had too much kind of booking experience as we're so new.
Mm,
So hopefully it's smooth sailing. I'm hoping we
mm,
get some shows pretty well. I think with Gypsy Road, our drummer James does a lot of the kind of booking management.
mm.
But it's been pretty smooth with Gypsy. I think because Alex and James are the founding guys. Like they've been,
Yep.
it's just a three piece, so they've been there since like shit, like 2018 or something. And I
Mm.
think they kind of just play a show when they want to. I think they've kind
Yeah.
of been through the we want to gig all the time
Yeah.
when they were kind of like 18, 19.
Yeah.
And so me being really new to live music, that's why I'm really thankful for Grimlock because I'm obviously really hungry and keen to play as
You're
many
chomping at the
shows.
bit. Yeah.
Yeah,
They're a
man.
little
Yeah.
bit past that phase, but you get to
Yeah.
you get to jump in and go like, let's go with
Yeah,
Grimlock.
man.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And yeah, super keen to play some more shows with Grimlock because it's just it's awesome kind of playing the music that you really like. I do love Gypsy Road's music, but kind of
Mm,
all their stuff has already been written, so I'm kind of the new guy kind of learning songs and stuff. Whereas with
mm.
Grimlock, it's all stuff we've written together. Like there's death metal riffs I wrote when I was like long time ago. Can't
Yeah.
pinpoint the exact age, and then they're coming to life in Grimlock, and that's just like I can't describe it. It's an
Oh,
awesome feeling.
must feel good. Must feel good if it's like unearthing lost arcana, and
Yeah,
then seeing
yeah,
that
man.
on stage. Yeah. In terms of your experiences, so are you playing bass in Grimlock as well, or
With Grimlock, I'm playing lead guitar, so I get to
lead guitar?
do
That's right. Yeah.
a bit
Mm,
more of what I like as well. I get to
yeah.
do some shreddy solos with like sweeping and
Yeah.
all that masturbatory guitar playing.
Hell yeah. So you're getting a bit of that outlet as well too. Like you kind of um getting to do like hang back more on the low end and just locking in with the groove with Gypsy,
Yeah.
and then getting kind of flash out with your guitar playing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I'd say so. And Gypsy has helped me monumentally as a musician and as a performer because
Mm,
before Gypsy, I like hadn't really done too much performing and stuff. I'd always been like a bedroom guitarist and
yeah.
getting in that band setting, even though like I wasn't playing my preferred instrument and the music isn't super technical with Gypsy, it
Mm,
helps me, like you said, lock in with the groove and just catch on to things like timing. And it
mm.
also in turn provoked me to start like a sound production course. I recently just finished a Cert IV in sound production. So that
Oh,
was great.
congrats.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's awesome. I've gotten into production and stuff. I absolutely love it.
What are you sort of doing for production? Like, what did they train you in your cert? What were you using, like Logic, Cubase, or?
So mainly Logic, Pro Tools, and I was hoping Ableton. I'm an Ableton user. I quite like
Mm.
Ableton.
Mm.
And the Cert IV is actually where I met bassist Tristan, and he's awesome. He plays in another band called Distortion as
Oh,
well.
yep.
They're pretty cool. And yeah, he's done. So the demos we have now, the boys are actually down in Melbourne today, re-recording drums and vocals for the demos we have at Pony Studios, which is exciting.
Nice.
The demos we have up on our link tree now, we they were pretty rushed recordings. You know, there were one takes we had in our rehearsal studio,
Mm.
and Tristan sample matched the drums, and Tristan did all like the mixing and mastering on those demos. And man, I'd say he did a really good job. Tristan's quite When I met him in the Cert IV, I was like, shit, you are overqualified to be doing the Cert IV. He's
Damn, man.
very good
You
with that
know
stuff.
some drummers that are really bucking the trends and the stereotypes of drummers, like managing, doing the audio production, you know.
Oh, Tristan, yeah, Tristan is the bassist. Sorry.
Oh, basis. Well,
Yeah.
even the rhythm section in general, because usually the joke is here's a dad joke for everyone on the pod. How do you know a drummer slash bassist is? How do you know the stage is level? The drummer slash bassist are drawing out of both sides of their mouth.
It's interesting because they're the ones who do most of the counting and like the
Yeah.
technical stuff. They're like the
Yep.
unsung heroes. Our
Mm.
drummer at the moment, our drummer Dom, he's amazing. He's a really killer drummer. He's got an Instagram. It's called drd.drums, and he does
Yep.
like drum covers of like Slipknot and Tool and stuff.
Sweet.
And yeah, he's really cool. He really helped us with that, like just staying tight. And when we first kind of heard his drum fills as well, it's like you could tell that's someone who has put endless hours into perfecting their
Yeah.
craft. And
Yeah.
it's really cool. I'm a big nerd for drums and stuff, and
Yeah.
kind of technical music in general, like tech death. It's probably one of my favorite genres. I'm a massive like Nick Vegas fan.
Oh man, the one band that didn't seem to come out of the woodwork recently. I don't know if you went to Cryptopsy or Dying Fetus or
Dying Fetus,
yeah.
yeah,
Oh God,
so
talking
good.
about tech, did
Yeah,
that show? I feel like it's a broken record thing. I'll often say after shows, again, I'm full of dad jokes, and people who've been following ISC know this for time immemorial.
hell
Half of
yeah,
our categories are dad jokes, but my
I
thing
love
is
that.
I come out from a show like that and I saw like, oh, that band either made me want to play 6 hours a day or throw away all my fucking instruments forever.
Yeah,
And
that's tech death.
yeah.
It's
Um,
awesome.
so for you, I guess you got you got a few feet in a couple of different musical camps, and then you've got your own sort of content creation stuff. I play guitar sometimes,
Yeah,
which yeah, pretty ironic label, I'm guessing.
yeah.
Walk us through a bit of what your process is there. Is that more just casually throwing up stuff whenever you want? Do you have a bit of a system for it? Like, how does that work for you?
I would honestly say a little bit of both.
Mm.
I'll like practice the hell out of what I'm putting up, but a lot of the time it will just be, I'm jamming, jamming by myself, and I think, oh, that's cool. I want to put it up on the channel. So originally, I started the channel earlier in the year, and it was originally to get help. Like, it was originally to get feedback from other players. Like, it would
Mm.
be how is my technique here?
Yeah.
And someone would drop a comment below saying, do this at this BPM. And then it was kind of like a progression thing because hmm, the kind of skill level of what I was posting would get more and more. And
Yeah.
I find that posting videos, it was similar to recording yourself. Like it really helped me want to get better, and it
Yeah.
helped me get creative as well. Because I think like, oh, like originally you put them up and you're like, no one's going to watch them. But, now well, it's a small following, but there's still people who check in on the videos and leave like nice
Yeah.
comments and stuff. And as a content creator yourself, I'm sure, it's nice to have that feeling of like a little kind of online community, and you can upload and then, see feedback, and it's just awesome, man. So it's kind of held me
Mm.
accountable for my own playing. Like if it's been a week, I'm like, oh, I haven't uploaded anything. Like, and I can't do it the same videos before. You have to come up with something new each
Yeah.
time. And
Yeah.
kind of the videos that I see in the algorithm that are more popular are the shreddy stuff. So it really pushes me to be like, okay, do something new and hard on the guitar.
Mm.
So
Mm.
it's cool like that.
And I think that's a healthy way to approach it. Like the fact that you're thinking in terms of like inspiration and notching it up to the next level, and also your community, which I think it's sounding like so far you've avoided that, what I'd like to call, I guess, the trap, which is very easy to fall into, especially with YouTube, TikTok, etc., etc., can be very reinforcing. Like, this is what the algorithm dictates this week. This is what is in. If I want to play the game of chasing the numbers, I mean, I honestly almost feel for a lot of like bedroom guitarists or professional musicians who have that kind of side project. Like, for example, 66 Samus, like he's huge, that sort of thing. And I
Yeah.
do think good on them, but also I don't know, mate. Like maybe your take on this is different, but there's this kind of background pressure that I feel with content creation. It must be, I'm just sort of thinking out loud here. It must be for people chasing something like your channel, but as their primary kind of income, like just doing it more casually personally, and mine is shit. I mean I am literally recording off this thing because I haven't bothered to work out the DAW
Dude, I
stuff.
use my
Maybe,
iPhone camera audio
yeah,
quality. I just
yeah,
do it casually is the way, I think.
yeah. But I guess that's an interesting point. Do you find, as someone that's just sort of making stuff and putting it up there, and obviously you've got two bands, you've got existing projects. Do you find it kind of, I guess, how do you find it sort of stepping back as a content creator and just noticing others around you in that kind of, in that field, in that space? Do you notice there's a bit of a difference, say, with attitudes or release schedule or anything like that? Do you get what I mean? I don't know
Yeah.
if that's making sense,
No,
but
no, it's making good sense, man. Yeah, I think because in terms of content creation, mine is like it's so casual.
mm,
It's literally just me propping up my iPhone and plugging in my amp, and then I just play. It's so
mm,
laid back in the sense of I like I don't even really think about it too much,
yeah,
so it's hard for
yeah,
me to answer. But yeah, I guess I get what you're saying. With it seems like I have met people who, if they do like guitar videos and stuff, or I've spoken to other people on like TikTok or YouTube who do videos as well, and you can tell that they really want to do it as like a main thing, and it feels like they
yeah,
are algorithm chasing a bit. And I think it would lead to a lot of disappointment, man. Like
mm,
I think there's a sense of like it's going to sound a bit silly, but like a sense of freedom with almost just like, okay, I've got the video there, and it gets a little bit of engagement. I'm happy with it. They don't get,
mm,
they don't get heaps of views, but they average okay, and it's something for me to keep on wanting to do. And I feel like that's the main thing, man, because
mm,
obviously music is something I put my all into, but just noodling around and playing stuff and putting it on YouTube is the really good hobby side of it. Like I think, oh,
yeah,
what am I gonna upload? And it's a really cool side of it. And then I think with performing is it's much more serious because when you're performing, you don't really have 10 takes, you know what I mean?
yeah,
You wanna crack it down. And
mm,
yeah, that's why especially with the Grimlock stuff, we all practiced a lot because it's not something I feel like metal in general, especially modern metal, but a lot of metal as a genre, the precision of this genre is so exaggerated. Like it's a very
yeah,
precise and
yeah,
technical thing. So there is a bit of pressure to, you know, if everyone people screw up. I saw Lorna Shaw's sideshow and Adam. He's a killer guitarist. He makes a mistake or two,
mm,
and that's just a given. But it's about really minimalizing them and condensing those mistakes to a few. Whereas there's even you see some punk bands and they're like what you
that,
practiced for this?
yeah, yeah, that's a feature, not a bug, mate. And like, hang on a minute, you guys were on time the whole time. Have you guys like all sober and had a good night's rest? Yeah, well, that's actually an interesting point. From the perspective of being a metal musician in Melbourne, do you think that perhaps that kind of background, not so much pressure, but that well, that onus on performing and trying to minimize mistakes is not just a byproduct of metal, but also the Melbourne scene, because we have so many bands that are just
Uh,
ridiculous. I mean,
yeah,
take Cryptopsy for example, like both Munt, who are meant to be, grind, black and sludge, and they're like note precise throughout. And then you've got
yeah,
writing, which is just like shout out to Joel and the boys, because that their stuff is just like on point, note precise, morbid angely, kind of disso
yeah.
death. As a local musician, you're sitting back watching these guys and going, fucking wow. Do you ever feel that maybe imposes pressure on yourself in terms of like writing or performing metal like locally? Or
I feel a bit, but I feel like it's the best type of pressure because
yeah.
with with this type of music, um, I personally play this type of music because I love the challenge. Like I
Yeah.
love that kind of shreddy stuff, and like with Grimlock, the riffs aren't too technical, so that's the thing. It's
Mm,
still fun to play.
mm.
There are bands that play such technical stuff, and I look and think, okay, that would might
Yeah,
be a
good
bit
luck to
too
you.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
a awesome band I saw recently. Shout out to Trepaside, man. I saw them.
Yeah.
They opened up for Disentomb a couple months back, and I was just like, "Holy smokes, these guys are good." I think Jamal, the guitar player, I spoke to him after, and I was just like, "You're so fucking good at guitar, man!" Like they were awesome. They were super
Yeah.
cool. That's a band where I think that precision is just it's perfect.
And they're a band that deserves a bit more clout. So,
I think
I'm
so.
gonna be chucking bands in the show notes. So don't worry, guys, you're gonna get some rep. But yeah, and that's a good, I think that's a really good and healthy way of approaching it. Do you think that approach is like generally shared with the Grimlock guys? Like that's kind of the culture. Like, look, this stuff is more inspiring to us rather than, because it can get, I guess it can be easy for local bands to start getting competitive or beating themselves up collectively too, especially new bands. Um, is that kind of like, do you feel like that spirit shared with the other Grimlock guys or?
Yeah, of course. That's another good thing is we all really click and we all collaboratively write. So it's like every Sunday on our rehearsal, they were like we'd all like kind of sit down
Mm,
and collaborate. And obviously there were like kind of me and Zach will write the guitars because we're the guitarists type of thing. But we're always open to because there are a lot of groups I know where it's like one person shouts the loudest type of thing or one person writes more stuff. We
yeah.
want to try and avoid that, but yeah,
Mm,
I would say mainly that attitude is kind of held with everyone. We don't we don't want to be like a tech death band, but
yeah.
it's cool to have some techie stuff. I guess the solo
Mm,
in Adrift was hard.
yeah.
um,
Yeah.
but it's also the thing is our main influences are, you know, Zach as a guitarist, he loves, like Pantera and Slipknot and
Yep.
all the yummy classics.
Yep.
And then Cam, our vocalist, I've mentioned before, he loves black metal. His favorite band is I guess they're more like Blackened Death, but a Null Nuckrath.
Ah,
Um,
nice.
just that chaos, man.
Nice. Yep.
And Tristan, our bassist, he's awesome guy. I'd say he's a really big deathcore fan. Like he
Mm,
loves his deathcore. And our drummer, he loves all types of stuff. Like Dom, he was at Dying Fetus with Tristan and I, so he loves his like death metal and he loves things like Tool and Slipknot. I personally, I'm a bit cooked. I listen to everything, like
yep.
from a
Same.
range
Yep.
of
Yeah.
from like math rock, Midwest emo to metal to like I don't even mind like some classical and stuff like that. I love pop
Mm,
punk. Like
mm.
it'll be interesting. I'll have like even I grew up listening to a lot of Ed Sheeran. To be honest, I think he's a great songwriter, which
Yeah.
people roll their eyes at when I say.
Well, there's a reason. There's a reason some of them have sold millions of records. And while we might not, we might not agree with the tunes and the melodies, you've got to appreciate good songwriting where it happens, right? And in
100%.
terms of songwriting, so you got yourself placed in a couple of different sort of musical camps, and you're doing some covers. For you, who are your main, I guess, musical influences? Who would you say that through whatever projects you're doing at the moment, what are your sort of main go-to muses or inspirations for picking up the
These
instrument?
guys. Solosis.
I was about to say, yeah.
Sure, Josh Middleton. I'm a bit of a Josh Middleton fanboy. Like I think he's a whiz at production. I think like when I first heard the reason I really wanted to get into kind of like more advanced playing was I heard that song Imperial by Silosis and
Oh
this
man.
yeah the sweeping intro. I was like I want that.
Even the bass on that, dude,
Yeah,
like
oh yeah,
that's one of Silosis is one of those bands exactly like Dying Fetus, where I'll be like, I've got this, and just playing the riff, and this is just from a bassist perspective. And every now and then, those talented bastards will go, you know what? I'm just going to follow the lead guitarist for a second, or go off and
pretty
do my own
impressive.
thing, and have like 2 bars of just this bullshit two-hand tapping that I am definitely not. That's not my
Yeah,
bag. But then I've looked at the guitar tabs and gone, no, fuck no. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So pretty
yeah.
high bar, like an Imperial, especially like you were saying, that just starts off like Jeff Loomis
Yeah,
neoclassical
I'm a
shred.
I'm
Yeah,
a big Loomis fan. I've actually
yeah.
got a signature Loomis 7 with signed by Jeff Loomis sitting right over there.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful,
Yeah,
nice
it's cool. The
man.
Psalm of Lydia as well from the
Oh,
Godless Endeavor. That
yeah.
intro is like I can't play that clean. I can get away with playing it a bit sloppy, but
You're
it's
not Jeff Loomis, so you're
no,
excused, mate.
no, yeah, no. Jeff is awesome, and even more so like with Silosis, I got in just in the sense of their songs are like absolute riff city, man. Like such cool riffs. And Josh had he does have such a cool YouTube channel that has all of these lessons on production, on
Mm,
EQ, all that cool stuff. And then also, he has some cool like sweep tutorials and like fast alternate picking videos. And there was another YouTuber I watched quite a bit as well named Bradley Hall, like an English guy.
yeah, yep, he's
I,
good.
I love his videos. I found him really funny, and the dude can play. He's very
Yeah,
good. And
yeah,
so yeah, I think for me mainly, if I would say what I'd want music to kind of mirror, or not mirror, because I kind of like doing my own thing, but I do like for a lead sense, I love Josh Middleton's playing, and
mm,
then for rhythm playing, it's cool. Like like death metal. Like I really like Dying Fetus, like a bit of Obituary and stuff like that.
yeah,
I love those. Yeah, I love those riffs, man. I love the tremolo picking and stuff, and I'm a big fan of as well as black metal. But with black metal, it's interesting. I do like the older stuff. I really prefer new black metal, like not new.
yes,
When I say modern, I mean like after like 2010.
yeah,
Because I do like good production. I am a bit like
mm.
a bit of a production nerd, so I do like it's nice when it doesn't sound like they've just plugged into an oven or something
Like a
like that.
fart underwater in a
Yeah,
cassette recorder with the mic taped over it, and it's in I don't know, a submarine 2 miles
yeah.
that way. Yeah,
There was a
yeah,
band that really got me back into black metal. They were from Perth. I was lucky enough I interviewed their old keyboardist. They were called Advent Sorrow,
yep,
and they were I don't know. I listened to them. I listened to their song Pestilence Shall Come, and I was like, oh yeah. And I listened to that for I think it was probably like this time last year. Advent Sorrow was their whole discography was getting played on the weekly and stuff. Like I really, really enjoyed them. It's a shame I'll never get to see them. They
mm,
disbanded,
mm,
and that really got me into that kind of like I kind of like to merge Black and Death and Black and Death. Like it works quite well, and I
mm,
guess maybe that's where it comes out in Grimlock, as you said. There's a bit of a Blackened influence because a lot of the riffs I wrote like the riff for imposed corrosion. The start it's like no 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 no. I originally wrote that like a long time before I met the Grimlock guys, and a lot of my friends I would show because I'd be like, oh, like what do you think of this riff? And they'd say like, oh, it sounds like like old school death metal. And then I guess the other guys we all kind of polished it and brought it to life. I've got an actually interesting question for you. What would you call
yeah.
Grimlock's genre? Because we can't figure it out.
Oh, look, man, I piss off metalheads all the time, especially because as autistic as I can be, me facing and trying to like categorize my playlists and think about reviews, I have my own sort of internal actually guy that's like, no, actually, that's not melodic death metal, that's pagan progressive black metal. But
I
when it
love
comes
that.
to actually talking about bands, really, I find I put it into 2 camps, not even good music and bad music, because I think that's too subjective.
Yeah.
Music I like, music I don't like. But I think I would put Grimlock based on the limited listening. Honestly, I think I would just say modern metal, and yeah, I would say maybe even like blackened at this stage, maybe blackened hardcore, blackened metalcore.
Yeah.
But that's kind of oversimplifying it too. And I guess my ultimate statement on that is I sort of don't care on
Yeah.
like from my perspective what it is, but you guys do have a bit of that black and metalcore. It almost for me, it felt like a more metal oriented. I don't know if you've ever listened to um, Slowly Building Weapons or Siberian Hell Sounds.
No, I haven't.
Um,
I'll have to check them out.
but if you're into your black and stuff, they're very much on that the hardcore grind end of that, and a lot more sort of blackened. But Grimlock gave me that kind of vibe, and it's actually very
Sure.
funny because in looking up Grimlock, the first thing that came up was Metal Archives, and if it says Metal Archives and it's not the artist and it's the forum, I'm not going to click. Like my neck beard
Yeah.
is long enough; it does not need to get fucking longer. And the first thing that actually came up was like a groove metal band. And I was like, obviously, that's not them. And having a listen to your sound, I would say, yeah, you guys have got a groove influence. But yeah, I think honestly, blackened metalcore, especially vocally, um, I know this is very tangential to give a two-word answer,
Oh,
but
that's
I
all
guess that
right.
speaks to a good point too. Like a lot of
Yeah.
local bands and stuff now these days, I find it's a lot harder to square what a lot of people are doing
Yeah.
into one because of the influence of the internet and because of the influence of bands all playing with each other. Like 15, 20 years ago, you're just like, oh, yeah, those guys, this local opener very clearly is like Pantera 2.0 or In
Yeah.
Flames 2.0. And what I'm noticing from bands like yourselves, Grimlock, and pretty much when I'm going to shows and I haven't seen a band, I stand back and it's like, yeah, I can't really put most modern metal bands
Yeah.
into kind of one clean genre. And I think for me, your guys' experience of your songwriting with Grimlock, that's very much almost par for the course at the moment. A lot of bands, especially in Melbourne, it just seems to be that the culture with starting a lot of metal bands, and correct me if I'm wrong, you'll get ones where it's like very much an agreed sound. Again, go something like Writhing or Munt, but for me, I don't know if you've noticed this too, but a lot of opener bands, a lot of local bands, it's not like 15, 20 years ago where your first band's pretty much always going to sound like, I don't know, Pantera slash Down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I'm noticing a lot more influences in a lot more bands, really. So, yeah, I think it's good that you guys are, for me, it's a plus that, because if I was to say, oh, metalcore instantly, to me that conjures up a bit more of that more sort of groove metally kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It puts like attaches a certain, not stigma, but it
Yeah.
attaches like something to it. I think it's really good to not be able to pinpoint one genre on bands
Mm,
because it's
mm,
nice. It shows that there's influence from all ends, which I think is really like a way to keep fresh, if you know what I mean. Like you
yeah.
said, 10 or like 15, 20 years ago, if there's bands that, there'll be like, like a Pantera 2.0, it's kind of something that's like, okay, yeah, this has been done before.
Yeah.
But when I recently saw a band, they opened up for the Ascended at the Workers Club
Yeah.
last week. My mate Brendan, his band Werewolf, they're super cool. And
Oh, fucking love werewolves,
how
man.
cool are
I
Werewolf?
fucking love werewolf. So
Oh,
good.
this one, it's a single, just Werewolf. They're different to
Oh,
werewolves.
werewolf.
Yeah,
Okay. Oh,
they're
my,
cool. You should check them out. They've got a
I
new song
will.
called newish called Virus. They were really cool. They could he's a massive Solosis fan as well. That's kind of how we clicked.
Ooh,
And
okay.
oh
I may
yeah,
already be a fan without even.
yeah, yeah. These guys are good, man.
Yeah, sweet.
They can play, that's for sure. And I think the bill was they played with another band, the Incantus. Obviously, they're
Yep.
sick. I love
Incanters are great. Yep.
I love the Incantus, man. And yeah, and then the Ascended were the headliner, and they were really cool. They had that kind of 2000s metalcore vibe,
Yeah,
and that was a good night as well. Because I guess with even bands like the Incanters, like they have a fair few different styles, you know,
they
and that's
definitely do. Yeah.
yeah, that's what I love the most about it. Like, there's obviously a bit of death and doom in there, and it's awesome, man.
Mm. What do you reckon's behind? I guess my own theory is that we have so much more access to so much more music from more channels at all times. So for me, it's like music's just globalized and tech has just gone off so much that it's so much easier to be exposed to not only different musical styles, like when we're growing up, LimeWire, Soul Seek, all that sort of stuff, but also increasingly, my take, and yours might be different, is that you're getting a lot of exposure to education, like you said, like the channels that you mentioned. Like I've seen those ones. Corey Hunter is one who, shout out to him. He's really sort of influenced the sort of genres I want to sort of write, which
Yeah.
is more post metal, and
Oh.
and like black gaze or post black metal, or again, actually,
Yeah. Oh, that's
progressive
all
black.
right. I
But
love the post stuff. There's a band in Treebeard.
yep.
They're
Oh,
cool.
love tribute. Yeah. But I
Yeah,
guess
man.
my point being is that you can also kind of just jump online and be shown literally like the fingerings of chords and voicings and the theory and that sort of stuff. So I think my like take home hypothesis is it's easier than ever not just to listen to new music and kind of get influenced by that, but as a guitarist, as you said, like as a musician, it's easier than ever to just find people online, like the old mate from Silosis, where they're not just posting music, they're actually posting like educational stuff. So a lot of teach the teacher happening
Yeah.
through the
Yeah.
scene online. Yeah. I don't know if you feel like I, for me, maybe that's what's going on as much as like changes in trends in listening with bands. Because for me, it just feels like we've been talking a lot about like progression and skill, and it does feel like the average openers and local bands and new bands we're seeing, at least in Melbourne, but even down here in Geelong, and elsewhere, people just seem to be clued into more
Yeah.
genres and influences generally.
People are getting much. I feel like in this age, it's a lot. It's still hard to excel at an instrument, but
Yeah, of
there is
course.
so much more resources out there than, say like 20 or 30 years ago. It would have been, you can't just simply search up guitar profile for a tab on any song.
Mm,
It's which is like that's a very good point. I feel like the word like I feel bad saying the word easier, but I do think it's easier to be a good guitarist, bassist, drummer, or anything these days, because first of all, you can kind of learn from home. People can just
mm,
learn on YouTube and stuff. Like I myself, I teach guitar and stuff, so I hope people do still learn in person.
yeah,
But yeah, I think it's very true. Because you'll go up on Instagram and you'll see like some 10-year-old prodigy playing Arch Spire or something like
yeah. And
that.
you're just like, oh, God damn it. But yeah, yeah,
Like, look,
yeah,
all of this was for nothing. Nice.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting, and I feel like it's a good thing, and especially with production, it's getting a lot easier to produce music, because even in the
Mm,
scope of like from the 2000s onwards, I think in the early 2000s, there still would have been people who would record with tape and stuff like that. I
mm.
think, and even with things like amp sims, like things like your helixes and your quad cortexes and fractals, even in the space of, I don't know, when like 2017 or so, they have just grown so
Like
much.
the amp modeling technology is insane, and people are coding, it's kind of self-evolving too, isn't it? Like, it kind of reflects the grassroots. I feel like the production space, you're the one who's got the cert, not me, but just from my own point of view, I feel like the kind of the punk rock ethos of the software community has really extended to audio production to the point where people are putting out open source. If you can't afford $800 for Frederick Thorndale's whatever,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not throwing my man Fred Trevor under the bus, but it's just as likely someone's gone out and done an open source amp model of such and such as cap that you can, if someone's got an Axe FX or Reaper or whatever. Um, so I feel like access to VSTs for recording, which for let's like plugins, that sort of thing, modeling amps. But for me, I guess this is a question for you, from me as more of a naive person. Again, my covers mostly being done on phones because I find as someone with ADHD and autism, my brain is wanting to be the IT guy and nerd out and geek out and get into the details. And then I open a DAW and I feel like ADHD steps in and I just have this big freak out and go, nah, too many
Overwhelmed.
buttons, too
Yeah.
many things. And I've sat there, man. I've sat there like I'm still sort of self-teaching a bit of tutorials about like Scarlett, my direct input, and that's the brand. It's not named. I guess I'll call her Scarlett. But Reaper, Audacity, that sort of thing. How was your experience kind of self-learning versus doing a cert? Did you find that that really helped? Because from my perspective, it's kind of like self-teaching music theory. Sure, you can, and you can pastiche it together, and some channels will really walk you through some of it. But especially with audio production, I find it's just such an overwhelming world of what you
Yeah.
could possibly do that it gets a bit overwhelming.
Yeah, so that's I'm a neurodivergent person as well. So previously, before starting the course, I thought like I was similar to you. I wanted to get wrapped up in the tech and stuff.
Yeah.
I just I couldn't. I tried learning by myself. I've got some friends who are really good producers and stuff, and it was too much. So that's why I went and did the Cert IV because I needed that kind of, I guess, holistic style of like the teaching and support and stuff like that.
Mm. Mm.
And after that, it's taught me now what I need to go and research. So I'm not sure if I'll go on to do diploma because I want to
Mm.
work and stuff like that. And that yeah, I got to say that's quite relatable, man. So it's so
Yeah.
overwhelming when you think like, oh, I'm just gonna hop on. There's so much stuff online. There might be stuff online, but it doesn't stop that overwhelmingness that we naturally feel when you see all of this stuff. It's not a case of like, okay, just calm down and learn one bit at a time. It's overwhelming, man. Like it can be very
Yeah. And
intimidating.
I think neurodivergent people are especially susceptible to the all or nothing, like looking at it from the big picture,
Yeah.
pattern recognition, and going, that just sounds like way too much. But I also think about it from the average neurotypical person's point of view. Not that here's another theory of me. I don't know how many people are in the metal scene, especially that are fully neurotypical. Because
Yeah.
who's normal brained enough to go, it sounds like a great time listening to a bunch of bald slash long haired dudes murder air and talk about death. Anyway, that's just not an armchair psychiatrist. But,
Yeah.
neurotypical, neurodivergent, whatever, I do feel like there's a lot of information just out there that's
Yeah.
sort of possible and free floating. So you mentioned with your audio production, you're looking to take it further. Like, are you looking to get kind of into the industry there, or what's your sort of plans there?
Um, well, so with live sound, yeah, because I've done a bit of like sound engineering and kind of
Mm.
shadowed some really cool sound techs around here. I was lucky enough to a few months ago, a black metal band that I actually adore, Pestilential Shadows.
Oh,
They're
I
from
fucking
Sydney.
love. I was going to mention them before. Yeah,
Awesome.
shout
They're
out
they're
Pestilential,
rad. They're
great
so
band.
cool, man. I saw them up at Crowbar, and I got to shadow the sound engineer, so I got to like do some sound stuff, and that was really cool. So I could see myself kind of trying to reach out and freelancing as like a soundy.
Yeah, yeah,
Because I enjoy that stuff. I enjoy the kind of stage setup and
yeah.
live music, kind of working on the fly and stuff like
Mm,
that. Um, for kind of studio stuff and production, I'd like to get a bit better with kind of doing my own stuff.
yeah,
But even it's kind of it can get a bit overwhelming. I can't really get lost into production as
yeah.
well as some others can. Like the our bassist in Grimlock, Tristan, he's really good with that stuff. I can definitely see him kind of doing people's mixes and stuff like that professionally because he's very good. He's quite
Awesome.
good.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I guess that was a bit of a long answer. I apologize. I suppose in some aspects, so maybe not exactly in production, but in live sound. So in kind of that realm. But I suppose with studio production and stuff, I'm not sure if I would try and kind of crack into the industry.
Mm. Okay, well, look, you've got a lot of interesting stuff coming up, man, and you've
Yeah.
got your fingers in a lot of pies. You sound way too similar to me in a good way. I think it's
Yeah,
a
man.
I think it's a bane and a blessing that we're always wanting to spin fire plates at once, but
Yeah, man.
I would be bored to death if I was personally just spinning one plate.
Exactly.
Um, but yeah, Ben, I just want to say, I think before we wrap things up, I like to sort of throw in, I always like to throw in that it's just such a cliched rock journalist style question, but
Awesome.
I think a lot of people that are listening, especially if a lot of our listeners are local or Australian or new to bands, and maybe they are at that sort of, maybe they're not even at the content creator sort of stage. Maybe they're just sitting there jamming stuff on Rocksmith or
Yeah.
Guitar Pro. What advice would you have for, I guess, not just Melbourne, maybe Australian, just local musicians who they may be at that stage where they're wanting to say that this is a bit of a two-tiered question.
Yeah.
You mentioned long answers. My questions are going for longer than your answers, but
That's all right.
but I guess just to sort of wrap things up, like in terms of first of all, for people who would love to do something like uploading their playing, but are feeling a bit shy or self-conscious, and then for those who are looking to make maybe that leap from there into the band space, actually like getting out of the bedroom, um, what kind of advice would you have for those like prospective musicians who are sort of not, they might be better than they think, but they're sort of doubting themselves, that kind of thing? Yeah, what kind of words of advice would you have?
Okay, so for the kind of first layer of that, if it's to do with content creation, you're really wanting to just as simple as what I do, like just film yourself playing guitar and put it up on the internet. Um, a big thing for me was like it's gonna sound like boring normal advice, do everything you're doing, especially in terms of say like sweeps. Do it with a metronome. Try
Mm,
your best to make it as try and be proud of yourself as well. I don't shy away from kind of people self-deprecate too much. They'll be like,
yeah.
"Oh, like I suck, I suck." What can really help is recording yourself because yeah, recording yourself can have the opposite effect where you think, "Oh man," but when you get that good take and you hear yourself, you're like, "Shit, is that me?" And like you should get happy about that. It's normal to be proud of putting in hours upon hours of hard work and kind of doing something you've always wanted to do. So that's what I would say in terms of the content creation is definitely record yourself. Take various takes. That's the cool thing about recording and
Mm,
taking these videos. And never frustrate yourself with your practice. I think that if you get to a point where you're feeling frustrated, it's like when I used to play Skyrim and I couldn't figure out a puzzle. I would just put it down, go do something else for a bit, and then come back to it. And then when you figure it out, it's like this massive like
yeah.
I just did it. It was chill. Exact same thing with guitar. I've found a big thing. Yeah, and if it's to do with performance, like you're playing, definitely a metronome. Try to familiarize yourself with theory. I know it sucks, but it will level up your playing quite a bit.
Mm.
And then in terms of oh man, I guess the second part of that question was about like gigging or something, or
Yeah, I guess for people maybe a bit scared about making that transition from like either playing by themselves in the room or even they might have a channel, but they're like, okay, but I really want to get into the band side of things, but I'm
yeah.
a bit nervous about maybe, interacting with others or the whole live thing. Yeah.
For that, I would definitely say being in a band situation with like just without performing, that will be very handy because you're playing in front of other people and you're playing with other people. So
Mm,
just continuing to do that and being aware. that if you haven't played in a band before, you're going to be a bit out of time. You're going to be a
Yeah.
bit rusty, and
Yeah.
that's okay. Like that's completely fine. People, like I said, they beat themselves up too much if they don't get it the first shot. It's okay to, you know, when I first joined Gypsy, I hadn't played with other people since I was like 14, and I joined Gypsy when I was 23. So
Mm.
you know that look, it was rusty at the start, but I ended up getting really comfortable, and I feel like, say, in terms of that person who wants to get to performance, is when you feel appropriate, rip off the band-aid, because there is such a thing. It's good to over prepare, but I feel like you can over prepare. You can
Oh
get
God,
to the
yeah. Yeah.
point. Yeah, you're gonna end up never doing something if you just continue to plan. It's good to just get up and do it. And even if you mess it up, if it's your first gig, it's the perfect time to be excited for that. It's your first time performing. Obviously, you're not going to play a perfect set, but it's okay. You've got that
Mm.
reason for like, this was my first go. If you you know, you play some of the songs fine and you get through them with, you know, a couple of mistakes, it's good to know that as well. Unless you're completely butchering the song, like, you know, don't do that.
Mm.
But you can be your own worst critic. Like there's times where, even for, I think, In a Drift, that solo is pretty, like, it's not insanely hard, but it's pretty. There's a lot of sweeps and kind of some fast shreddy stuff. And you know, I played it pretty well, but there was one slide where it was like slightly out a tone, and I, like, in my head, I was like, "No, like, this is
It's
terrible. I've just made
seppuku
it."
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I watched the video back, and I was like, "Oh, it's fine, man. Like that
Yeah.
sounds good."
Yeah.
So yeah, I think, like, if I could condense that advice, um, I would definitely say, don't be like, you know, not don't self-deprecate too much. Be proud of your hard work and rip the band-aid off, because, get it, you know, there's heaps of people who are going to do it, and there's heaps of people around who do it who are probably, if someone's better than they think, there are people who are probably much worse than you out there doing it. And
Mm.
it's that thing of it. And I want to say a lot of things, like just be confident, but as someone, I'm quite anxious myself, and my whole life I've been told to be confident. It's quite annoying. You go like, "Well, yeah, yeah, I can't just
Oh
fix that,
yeah.
man." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if I
we're
could, I
all
would.
we're all we're all especially musicians, I think we're all masking too. Like, yeah, there is the term neurodivergent facing masking, but musicianship is its own form of
Yeah,
masking, and we're all doing it. We're all doing it.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly, man.
absolutely.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome interview, Brady.
Yeah.
Enjoying this chat. We've definitely kind of gone back and forth with long questions and answers. So
Yeah,
it's
no, it's been good. It's
awesome,
been
man.
good. And you know what? Like, this is the opportunity and invitation. I mean, we just sort of hooked up via Facebook. So it's a good
Yeah, man.
reminder that I'm happy to chat with people. And I think we've had important chats about the state of the Melbourne scene. And I think you've given some really, really good invites as a local muso, man. So I'm gonna let you hop
Awesome.
off because
Cool.
you've got some window shopping to go do at Utopia, you lucky bugger.
I've got some cards to drop off.
Yeah, just be careful of the vinyl section and be careful that don't linger too long. You might support the scene a bit too much with your wallet. You got to keep some
Yeah.
left over for Christmas.
Utopia is a tax on metalheads, Brady.
Yeah, it is. It really is. But it is a utopia. So have a good Christmas,
Awesome, man.
man. And I'll probably see you around the place at a gig in the new year because Lord knows there's friggin' heaps of them happening. So yeah,
Awesome.
see you around the place, mate.
Cool. See you, Brady. Have a good one.
Awesome, man. You take it easy. Have a good afternoon. Yeah.
You too.
Cheers. Bye, man.